Hi everybody, it's Jennifer. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to tell you what I read in November, what I am still reading into December, and what I did not finish, and what I will be reading in December, kind of. Okay, so the first book I finished in November is A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. This was a part of my Gone with a Book TBR, and I had started it and then I did not get around to finishing it, so I finished it in November. I thoroughly appreciate this book. What I would say about it is it took me just a tiny bit to get into it because the framing device that Virginia Woolf uses here, it was a little bit fanciful for me and it just took me a minute, but by the end of the first chapter I was fully invested. And the way I feel about this is the way I feel about most classics, is that you get to see how things are different, but you also get to see how things are the same. And there are several parts in this where I recognized, okay, this is still a thing that's going on. And so while, women in fiction, it's, a much more open space for women as writers now, there are still, areas where this can still be considered relevant, such as the movie industry, where only one woman has ever won a Best Director Oscar, and women in technology, where we're still having a whole lot of issues trying to get in. This is really good. So 4.5 rolled up to a 5-star read for that. The next book I finished was Good Morning Midnight by Rhys. So we have this woman who is rather depressed, and she's going around Paris because her friend was like, please just go to Paris for a couple of weeks and I'll join you, it'll brighten you up. It does not brighten her up. So you get to see a part of Paris that's not, it's not the type of Paris that gives you all the good feelings. It's kind of it is a city like most others where you can get lost and there aren't great elements sometimes. And while I can't say I thoroughly enjoyed the reading experience, I thought it was really worthwhile. And yeah, I'm probably gonna reread it at some point, but not anytime soon. So yeah, this got a 4-star. It's kind of like 3.75 though. And the very last thing I read, well, I finished reading, was The New Silk Roads, The Present and the Future by Peter Frankopan, which you'll get a video right there. And yeah, I liked this one a lot. The writing style was on par with his last book, which is, yeah, The Silk Roads, A New History of the World. I think that's the subtitle. But this one was a lot shorter. The audiobook was only 6.5, maybe to 7 hours. But I did get quite a lot out of it that I didn't know. It's a fairly recent history of what's been going on in Asia. The rise of China, it goes over the Belt and Road initiatives, and the ways that China's been reaching out in Africa and in Latin America, which I had no idea about. I thought this was very good. It has some drawbacks, of course, because, it's about current stuff. So it goes up to about July of 2018. So stuff that's happened recently isn't exactly covered. However, there's still stuff in there that I found worthwhile. There's some discussion about the re-education camps that China is enforcing on their Muslim populations, and that ended up in my Twitter feed, about 400 documents pertaining to those initiatives, and I thought that was you rarely have something come, well, for me, I rarely have something come up in a book and then it shows up on my Twitter feed a couple days later. But I thought that was an interesting experience. Yeah, so I thought, like, one, it's a little short, and so I would kind of like more details. But also, I thought, like, the last third had a little bit too much to do with the United States. Because, you know, I was kind of in it to learn something else, you know? Something a little bit more about an area that I don't know enough about. But in general, I thought this was a really good, if short, book, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Alright, so from my November TBR, I am still in the middle of the Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. This is a slow reading process for me. It's not hard to read, it's just that, one, the chapters are long, which sometimes sets me back a bit when reading a book. I'm still reading this and I'm really enjoying it, but you probably won't hear my full thoughts on it until December. And I am also still reading How to Eat a Peach by Diana Henry. Yeah, I'm about 75% along, and I'm hoping to have that read by, I don't know, in the next couple of days. But I am really enjoying this. This is a good combination of food writing, travel writing, and gorgeous food pictures. Yeah. So this is a very nice experience, and I might like to get like a hard copy at some point. Forgot. I DNF'd The Woolf Gift by Rhys. I've read it 4 or 5 times already. I got to a point where I was like, I do not care about these people anymore. I was only actually reading it because it's before the Wolves at, yeah, I think it's the Wolves of Midwinter. And they've got some decent, like, I don't know, Turkey Day scenes in The Wolf Gift, but in the end, I just could not, even with the audiobook at like 1.25%, I just couldn't drag myself through that one. And yeah, so around Christmas time, what I'm probably gonna do is read my favorite Christmas parts, like maybe the last half of The Wolves of Midwinter, because the first half of The Wolves of Midwinter I don't like because what's his name? Reuben's being a tool. Yeah, I might just read the second half because I've read all the books before. There's no reason why I have to read the whole thing. I just want to read my favorite Christmas parts. And so that's what I'm going to do. Which brings me to my actual December TBR, because that was going to be on it, but now it's not. Now I'm just going to read excerpts. I have 1 book on my December TBR because October and November TBRs just have not worked for me lately. So I've got 1 book. As soon as I'm done with the How to Eat a Peach by Diana Henry, my next my next ebook is going to be The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, which is the follow-up to The Poppy War. And I really enjoyed that when I read it in January, and I got the ebook when it came out, which was in August. If you don't have the ebook, it's now $2.99 on Kindle, at the Kindle store, if you were holding out. That is the only book that's on my list to read in December. Everything else is going to be a part of my whim, and I'm going to finish this. That's it. I would like to get to my my Goodreads goal. Yeah, my Goodreads goal was 75, and I'm now at 69 for my books read this year. So after the Pilgrim at Tinker Creek and the Dragon Republic, I'm going to need 4 more books. I have some audiobooks that I recently got. And also I have some graphic novels that I can read. So next year I'm just going to make my Goodreads goal 52, which is 1 book a year, which I think was my first ever Goodreads goal. I think one book a week. Now, while I don't intend to slow my reading down, my reading has been slowed down naturally by my picking up books that I'm not usually used to reading. And I'd like to just like, I don't know. I'm having some plans for 2020 in order to get my reading mojo back, which I believe is going to consist of rereads, focusing on genres that I like, and only forcing myself to do TBRs when absolutely necessary, such as, I don't know, for readathons and stuff. But this whole TBR situation, I don't care for. So, yeah. That is a glimpse into my reading. Hopefully, December will end the year strong on the reading front. And yeah, so let me know what you guys have been reading. How was your nonfiction November? Mine was, you saw. But, you know what? It's a new month. It's a new day. I think I told you about the bear that was in my backyard. I don't have a picture, but we have had no more bears in my backyard, and we had reindeer for Thanksgiving. It was actually quite good. But yeah, so, you know, just tell me how your Thanksgiving and your reading went, and yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully not in another 3 weeks, maybe Friday, or maybe for a tag. I have them written out, I just have not made them. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Bye, you guys.